I'm Olivia. I am a wildlife and travel photographer. My goal is to inspire people to give a shit, and I like animals more than most people.
I'm Pat. Spent 10 years in the Marine Corps. I have strong views on conservation and the U.S. Constitution.
We will discuss topics like yoga,
Different methods of hunting, how to gut a deer and not fuck up your meat,
orgasmic meditation,
full body orgasms,
life after divorce.
life after death.
Why the fuck do we still use plastic bags?
Why can't everyone learn guitar in school?
What do you look for in the perfect photo?
What's in my food?
What's in my mouth?
We might also dabble in a little bit of motorcycles. That's right. She rides a Harley, bitches. While our upbringings drastically differed,
Our ability to communicate and be open-minded has allowed us to strengthen our relationship. So this podcast is here for you to broaden your horizons, possibly change your perspective on a topic. So we hope you enjoy listening to The Hunter and Hippie.
hello, welcome to episode Dos.
Or if you don't speak Spanish, too. Today, we will be talking about a subject that I definitely had an issue with for a very long time. I'm still working through it, and that is the topic of judgment.
I think I had quite a bit of judgment portrayed upon me throughout my life, so should get interesting.
This is a personal topic, and I hope you guys get something out of it. We first want to thank everyone who listened to episode number 1 and those who submitted a comment. Those interactions help our show grow and also help motivate us to know what's resonating with you guys. So we really appreciate the involvement, and we are excited to keep growing and
Keep
inspiring.
the feedback and reviews coming.
We'll always have our email in the show notes, so you can always submit your comment to us that way. There's other ways straight through Spotify or Apple that you can leave a comment or a question, and we see those. Let's get going.
Yeah.
There's a book that I really liked by Rachel Hollis. It is called Girl Stop Apologizing. And there's the intro passage that I think helped me just embrace me and not worry about what other people are thinking as much. I still was. Excuses disguise themselves as a number of things. Some people believe them with all their heart. They really do think they're not enough, or that they don't have time, or that they're not a goal kind of person. They don't realize that every time they hold on to these beliefs, not only do they rob themselves of motivation, they give up before they even start. Let's stop doing that. What are the excuses you've been believing? For me, it's a belief that recording a podcast was going to upset people if they thought the part I was talking about was about them, whether it was or wasn't. So the fear of judgment in that way was something that prevented me from ever submitting anything I recorded. I've had this equipment for 5 years, and you were the reason why we even set it up and really got it going. So first, thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome.
You've
Sometimes I can be a little pushy when I need to be.
I like it. You're not overbearing. You're just kind of like, you want to start a podcast? All right, I got this room set up. And that's what you did. Like that little obstacle that had stopped me from doing something that scared me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you.
I love you too. What is it about the intro you just read and made you want to read that?
That we tend to use excuses to stop us out of fear of judgment. Like the podcast, are people going to first think that I'm doing it just to hear myself talk? Are my intentions pure? And am I going to sound stupid? Am I going to sound conceited? All these things. But what I realize is people are always going to judge us, no matter what. And if you think of it on a survival instinct level, it's in our DNA to judge people as a threat or something that's safe. That's what we did in tribes. So not only is it just a primitive type of instinct, it's unavoidable.
So you're saying society's view on other people will stop them from doing what they want to do?
I think so. Let's give a background of why I've been conditioned through my own experiences. I was raised at a young age to be a people pleaser I think it comes from being a big sister. So being the example. My dad traveled most of my childhood. So I was trying to be the second mother in a way to my sister. When my dad would leave, he would say, be a good girl for your mom. And then if we were ever fighting, it would be, you're the big sister, you need to apologize. I kind of felt like I was on the defense of my actions. Like I couldn't just do what I wanted. I had to always consider other people first.
Mm-hmm.
So the judgment, I think, falls into that is I'm always considering other people, the way they will respond to what I say, what I do, because I'm afraid of causing a ripple. I'm afraid of upsetting them. As I got older, it was then act like a good girl. You're at an event for your dad. Like, don't want anybody to think that I'm not this good daughter, that my parents weren't good parents. They didn't raise a good girl. It was always just considering other people and their opinions rather than just being like, fuck that. I'm going to do me. After high school, I wanted to live in Australia for a year and meet my mom's side of the family. And then I thought, what are my classmates once I graduate? What are they going to think if I'm a year behind in college? My mom's going to miss me too much. It was always considering other people and what they thought of me and my actions. So that stunted me in a way. My favorite phrase is, what other people think of you is none of your business. I'll say that again. What other people think of you is none of your business. So why wonder what they're thinking about you? Because they might be thinking about you, but they also might be thinking the same thing. I wonder what they're thinking about me. We're always wondering what other people are thinking about ourselves. We're thinking more about that than we are judging you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably wondering, do I have something on my face? How does my hair look? Are my hands, do they look chunky while we're filming right now? We're kind of self-centered.
Do you remember where you heard that?
What other people think you? No, it was a long
time
time.
frame of when you heard it?
I want to say early 20s, maybe. It just stuck. Like, it's just none of your business. It was probably a book I read, some self-help book when I was younger.
Mm.
What were your first experiences of people judging you? How did it make you feel?
My first experience with judgment, I'd have to say, was early teens, growing up in Los Angeles and that whole area, and being middle class. We definitely weren't high class. A group of our friends and I, we started this stupid HCWT for high class white trash because we were like middle ground. We wore Vans and Converse, and when everybody else around us is wearing Jordans and high end tennis shoes that came out and Lucky brand jeans, and
You were wearing those, or
fuck no. Me out? No,
I was.
no. That's what I'm saying. Like all those things were out, and I don't think I think my first pair of Jordans I owned when I was an adult, but I didn't care about that. But other people did, and other people passed judgment. I learned at a young age that if somebody has something to say to you or about you, then that's their opinion. They're entitled to that opinion. And if they want to pass judgment, then who gives a shit?
I want to know how you were able to, at a young age, get to that point. Because for me, what other people thought of me, I was like, oh my God, is that really me?
I wasn't bullied by any means, but there was definitely comments made throughout my childhood. I was 6'1", like 155 pounds in 8th grade. I was a big, tall, lanky, skinny kid. So there was always comments like giraffe because my height. There wasn't like an aha moment for me of not giving a shit. I think it was just the attitude of the group of friends that I hung out with, mixed with a little bit of me not showing that it bothered me, not showing that I cared about their comments. So it kind of fizzled out those passing the judgment.
You took the wind out of their sails in a way.
Yeah, I just didn't give them the time of day and basically ignored what they said. I heard it, I understood it, but I ignored it and didn't make a big deal of it until I got to high school. And then in high school, it was a little different.
What do you mean?
If I got made fun of because of the vehicle I drove, or the holes in my jeans, or because the soles of my shoes were worn out and we call them talking shoes. I'd take a step to walk and my sole would separate from the shoe. but they were comfortable and I loved them. It wasn't that my dad didn't buy me shoes. I just liked those shoes, so I kept wearing them.
So you were kind of like a rebel.
No, not overall, but I liked what I liked, and if I wanted to wear it, I wore it. And if somebody had something to say about it as I got older, I just didn't put up with it anymore. And it would cause arguments or stepping outside in the hallway and then getting called to the vice principal and, you know.
Because you were giving them hugs.
Yeah. we were hugging each other out in the quad. I really didn't get in that many fights over stuff like that.
What'd you get in fights over?
It's funny because majority of my fights through middle school and high school were protecting somebody else, not even involving myself. A really good friend was dating this guy, and I remember we were at Apollo Park, and there was like 6 or 8 of us, and we were all hanging out. Some of them were playing basketball. The others of us were like skateboarding, and just everybody was just hanging out. That's what you did on like a Friday night. You'd go to Apollo Park until like 9 o'clock, and then there'd be a house party somewhere. So between like 7 and 8 o'clock, we're out doing this stuff. And I remember my friend, she walked by me and she was like bawling, crying. And then our other friend said, oh, her boyfriend had hit her. And I was like, what? And I knew this guy. And I was like, what do you mean he hit her? It was all hearsay. No one actually saw it happen. But by the time the news got to the group that I was standing with, it became this whole thing where like he shook her and then he hit her and then he took off on foot. Well, I knew where the dude lived and it was like a block away. So I go walking over there to go confront him, and he comes around the corner on his skateboard. Back then we didn't have cell phones to text. I don't know if somebody like gave him a heads up that I was walking over there or what, but he turned the corner and he was ready to fight. He like threw his hands up, and I just remember I hit this kid and his face just mushed. The kid ended up getting like 45 stitches in his face from one hit. And that moment on, nobody really fucking talked shit to me anymore. If there was a fight that ensued, it was because I started it.
So you were just starting fights.
You asked the premise on why the fights would start.
Yeah.
That one was protecting a friend.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we hit my girlfriend or anything like that. It was just, why the fuck did you just hit a girl? She can't defend herself. His dad came to my house, was yelling at my dad, and you need to pay the medical bills. Your son hit my son. And then my dad went to the back room where my bedroom was, and he's like, what happened? So I told him. My dad walks back to the front door and goes, my son is saying that your son hit this girl. And this dude's dad turned around and looked at him and beat his ass all the way back to the car.
His face already all stitched up or still bleeding?
It was stitched up.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
He was shoving him and picking him up off the ground. I can't believe you hit a woman. He should have done worse to you. Blah, blah, blah. I guess as I became known as somebody who would fight if talk shit to, people stopped talking shit.
Makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I can't say I never got in a fight, but I was the people pleaser. There was one girl, I was a sophomore, and her boyfriend was in my math class, and he was a junior. And we would do this competition because it was algebra, and I love math, and algebra to me is so easy. So we would have a competition to see who could get closest or get 100 on each test throughout the whole year. There was definitely flirting, but there was one time I remember we were in the quad and he like came up to me and did something flirtatious, just being a high school kid.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw I had a Mini Cooper with a white top.
Red?
Yep. With white racing stripes, just like Charlize Theron. As soon as I saw Italian Job and her racing that little car, I was like, oh my God, I want one so badly. She saw him interact with me, and she was clearly a jealous type. I heard through the grapevine that she was going to draw a big dick on the roof of my car. I was just like, why? They're like, she's threatened by you. And so I ended up finding her cell phone number. I feel like at our high school, if you're a grade older, it was like a huge deal. As you get older, it's not a big deal. But in high school, I was like, oh my God, she's a junior.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call her.
Right.
And I'm going to handle this.
Yeah.
I called her and I'm like, hey, it's Olivia. So I hear you want to draw a dick on my car. And it was silent. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I just wanted to like clarify. I don't want your boyfriend. We just have math class together. We have these competitions. That's it. I said, and I would really appreciate it if you didn't draw a penis on my card.
Yeah.
And she just, yeah, okay, and hung up on me. And then all the animosity I had heard and seen, the way that she looked at me, just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess there's a point where either I'm a people pleasing person or I see that whoever is so wrong in their judgment, I will address it. As I got older, though, like especially during my divorce, there were so many things that I heard and just misinformation that I realized what a waste of time that was for me. Let them think whatever the fuck they want about
Yeah.
me. And then our relationship, there's plenty of that still going on with people close to us. I have to ask myself better questions. How do I want to spend my time? Do I want to spend my time looking in the rearview mirror, trying to convince people who don't really mean that much to me that this is actually what happened? Or is it more productive for me to just show them with my actions and the direction I'm going? I think that was like my aha moment. There's a way for me to just continue living my life and not worrying about what is being said behind my back.
I think people are going to say shit behind your back no matter what, especially in a environment where there's not a lot of things going on. Growing up, there was 500,000 people in the town that I grew up in. So why the hell would I care what anybody thought? Because I'm probably never going to see them again in life. And then now living up here, you went through your divorce here. Our population is very low from our comparison, San Diego County, Los Angeles County. We're used to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And then we come here and we're like, oh, wow.
The graduating class before me, before they built another school down the road, was 900 people graduating.
2001, my senior class, there was like 770 of us. And so I come here and the graduating class is 30. What the fuck do you mean 30?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird for us.
Where I was getting at with that is when you come from an environment that's so populated, you tend to not care what people think anyway, because you're likely not going to run into them in the future.
Yeah, you're just a number, basically.
Yeah. And then being here, you're under a microscope and there's people who want to stir drama. That's what they do. They thrive in that atmosphere and that's what they want to create, more so to take the limelight off themselves because they're kind of a shitty person themselves. People passing judgment on me, whether it's my career or going through a divorce. Everyone's got their opinions, but two people know the truth, and that's it. If you want to have a judgment against me and you don't know the full truth, go ahead. You're going to look like an idiot. I think of the pancake analogy. There's two sides to every pancake. One side looks perfect and fluffy. The other side's burnt to shit. Is there a perfect life? No. Fact of the matter is, my relationship failed, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
After the failure, the decisions I made, that's on me, and I'll live with those decisions. I know my truth. I know what makes me happy. I know what is best for my mental health. I know what's best for my children, and I'm going to live that life. Aside from my relationship and the failures that it had and ultimately leading to the divorce, other people pass judgments who have no fucking idea who I am. I'm covered in tattoos. Oh, that guy's a bad guy. He's got tattoos. He's got a psychotic tattoo on his back. It means he's psychotic. How can you trust someone like that? It's just 5150. It's a California penal code for psychotic. I was 17.
Decisions we make at a young age or even 5 years ago may not be the person we are today.
No.
When I got divorced and I had the first 10 months with my son as a single mom, and then I got back together with said ex-husband, I got a lot of backlash and I lost friends because of it. But I also knew who is going to be living with me the longest. I am. I'm the one that's going to live with all the decisions that I make. So I'm going to make this decision because I think if we can make it work, this is what's best for our son to have both parents under the same roof.
Mm-hmm.
Lost friends, had people look at me like I'm an idiot, got unsolicited advice from people.
Right.
Then 2 years later, we break up again. And I was asking that dumb question, what am I going to look like to other people if I end this? I got back together and now I'm considering breaking it off again. I remember I was at the sink. The interaction that I just had with my ex was not respectful. And I turned around and I watched my son watching us. I was like, oh my God, can't imagine my son as a teenage boy speaking to me in that manner because it's a learned behavior. So judgment went out the window because I thought my decision right now, it directly affects my future. So rather than how does it affect other people, the better question is how does what I'm doing or what I'm about to do, how does that impact my future? I think that is a way more powerful way to look at things and to look at judgment. If they think that about me, what is that going to do to my future? Oh, nothing. Like Mel Robbins says, let them do whatever the hell they want, because in the end, you are the only person that you are going to die with.
I had a conversation with a coworker. She brought in an example of when somebody's judging you, what they see in you, they're either jealous about or they are judging you based on their insecurities about what you're doing. If you're confident enough to sit down and do a podcast, people are going to judge you who are not confident enough to sit down and do one. People who are like me, I'm forward. I'm a matter of fact type of person. I've had cases where people have told me I need to find some humility. I need to be softer.
What people see in you that bugs them the most is normally an insecurity they have about themselves.
Yeah. They are judging themselves through your creation of what it is that you're doing. So if I'm playing guitar, nobody else can play guitar, they're going to judge me and say, oh, he missed 3 chords or he can't sing and play. Well, you can't play at all. So your opinion means jack shit, at least through my eyes. I've been told, don't humble yourself for anybody. Fucking be yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I'm learning. A couple weeks ago, you said, stop dimming yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that really stands out, and it's not to make my sister sound like an asshole. She was like probably 12 when she said it. Right. But I was singing in the car next to her in the back seat, and she said something like, I like how you just show off and have to sing out loud. When my sister says something like that, it cuts deeper. Mm-hmm. I still have a hard time singing around people. Mm-hmm. I don't want to look like I'm better than somebody. It's like, no, I'm just going to do me. Yeah. Why not? I sent you an article and it said, when you're in your 40s, you've already technically lived almost half your life. And I just turned 35. And my sister's going to round up and say I'm 40. So I'm already almost at that halfway point. Yeah. Like, how do I want to live my life? But the best thing for me has been being a mom. How do I want my son to view me and my actions and my achievements? Does he want to look up to me, or does he want to be like, oh, that's what not to do?
Right.
I want to be an example for him. I want to be an inspiration for others. I've already received words of encouragement from people that I hardly know. One of my closest friends now, she said that when I was pregnant, it was middle of summer. If you know me, I don't do well in summer. My body swells and I was pregnant. So double swelling, uncomfortable. And she ran into me at a town event and I said something. I don't even know what I said, but she said it just hit her and it's stuck with her now for 4 years. And I had somebody after episode 1 say, when we were at yoga, you said something and it has stuck with me ever since. And I'm just like, what am I saying? Mm-hmm. But in those moments, I was just being me. I was probably just saying whatever I was thinking, not thinking much of it. And it resonated with somebody. So just be you.
Regardless of whatever judgment it is that's passed on you and who it came from, don't let it affect your daily life. Whatever it is that you're going to set forward and have as a goal, fucking go do it. And if somebody's going to judge you for that, $signs, fuck them.
That's a $sign?
Yeah, on the S's.
I've never heard that. Oh. Is that a LA thing?
Must be.
I had an interaction recently via text of how could you post something like that? It offended somebody. And I'm like, well, that wasn't my intention. And that's unfortunate that it affected them so deeply that they have you reaching out. I am willing to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that it affected you that way. That was not my intention.
Right. And in that moment, that was only half of the truth.
Yeah. And then I started sharing my side and they were like, oh my God, never mind. Like, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, and I hope that some of you guys start doing this if you're a people pleaser overthinker like I am, ask yourself better questions so that you can get in the driver's seat of your life again. These are questions that I came up with on the topic of judgment. What bothers me most about the belief they have in me? Olivia's an idiot because she tried her relationship twice. What bothers me most about that is people thinking I'm an idiot. Am I an idiot? No, that's another better question. As you get curious with the thoughts you're having, I envision the first question, what is it that bothers me most? And then you ask another question, am I really an idiot? Okay, no. Well, then why are you letting it bug you? And it's that simple. You're like, oh, I don't have to. Next question. Where do I feel this tension? Where do I feel the emotion in my body? So you're able to identify the little monster in your body. So if I'm feeling anxious, where am I feeling it? Most likely in my chest, feeling tightness maybe in my shoulders. Okay, what can I do about that? Take deep breaths. All right, let's take some deep breaths. Let's do 10. My watch has a whole exercise of breath work. Let's just sit down for 2 minutes, do breath work. Or, oh, I feel it in my shoulders. Maybe I could stretch. Maybe I should go work out. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm really frustrated, maybe I need to go punch a pillow. I need to get it out of my body. It took us a very long time to get this podcast set up with the camera.
Yeah.
And let's say over an hour because
I think it was 2 hours.
Okay. Long enough to have me pissed. And Pat just left the room. That was smart. I thank you for just leaving.
Yep.
But before we recorded, I got on my little trampoline and I just bounced and I just moved my body. Get out. Just get all that frustration out. I don't want that to be in my body as we record. Like Tony Robbins, I went to one of his events in 2018. This funny guy, Joseph something, he was on stage and he said, sometimes you just need to shake that ass. And he's just shaking his ass. And he's like, everybody get up and do it. The mindset about that is that movement creates change. Shake your ass if you're in a bad mood. If you're depressed, shake your ass. I bet you cannot shake your ass without smiling. Do something to create change in the body. Another question. How old am I in this moment, in this thought process? So if you've ever heard of internal family systems, you're looking at me like I'm crazy. Internal family systems is another book I read while I was going through my divorce, and it talks about the parts in you. So there's certain parts in your body that were created to protect you. And these parts were established at different ages in your life. Like what other people are thinking about me is really making me feel small. How old am I? Well, I'm most likely in 6th grade when my group of friends let a boy make fun of me and they laughed with him. I was standing outside at recess and he said something mean and my friend started laughing and I just shrunk. I just remember feeling so betrayed by the girls that I trusted. Being able to then find that initial thought that made you think this about yourself or about the world, you're able to help that little girl, that little 12-year-old in my situation, feel seen, feel beautiful, feel like she can trust. Then you're back in your driver's seat. Another one, how can I just come back to the present? There were some times when I had to literally say what I was doing out loud. I am pouring water. I'm making tea. I'm going to cut this fruit. Because I was so in my head and just spiraling. So that one, if you don't need to do that, you can just listen to your breath like yoga. You could be anywhere. You could be driving. You don't need to close your eyes. You can be anywhere on this planet, unless you're underwater, and you can breathe. And then what would my future self benefit most from? Would my future self benefit most from being like, oh, poor me. Everyone hates me. Or is it, I'm going to let them think whatever they want because I'm on this path. I have clarity where I'm going. Those are just the few that I came up with before we started recording. I hope that helps you. Are there any that you thought I was a weirdo or that you also use?
when people pass judgment on me and it actually bothers me, the easiest way for me to release that is go to the gym, lift heavy weight. There's been many times where the people I work out with, they stop and they go, dude, are you okay? And I go, yep. And they just know
Leave him alone.
Yeah, he's in a different space right now. Throw heavy weight around, go for a walk, go for a hike, shoot your bow, go to the shooting range, dump 20 magazines, and by the end of it, you're going to be smiling.
Motorcycle.
I would love to ride the motorcycle. However, it is still not above 30 degrees where we live. I would ride all day if it was 30 degrees, but there's still 3 feet of snow on the sides of the road and there's still ice everywhere. So no motorcycle for me right now.
So those are your alternatives.
Yeah.
I think like what you were just saying, especially about archery, it takes you to your breath. Though yours are very manly and mine are very hippie,
Right.
The umbrella is breath work.
Mm-hmm.
And breath work brings you back to being present.
It's funny because people listen to the show, the Hunter Hippie, and although my shit is more masculine, when I am shooting the gun, you have to have box breathing on your natural respiratory pauses when you're pulling the trigger. And you're not pulling the trigger, you're squeezing the trigger to the rear, soft and gently until the weapon surprises you.
I remember when I was at Front Sight in Pahrump, Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
And the instructor could clearly tell that I was scared of firing the gun. He goes, all right, just keep pulling. It's not going to do anything. Just keep a little bit more. And then bang. It was the best way to not anticipate the recoil and the noise. I still have to do that.
Oh, like that?
Are you done? Ujjayi is the way that you in yoga are able to lengthen your inhale. So you constrict the back of your throat like you're fogging up your glasses or a mirror to clean it. You can feel it when you do that. Can you feel it?
No.
You can't feel like your breath hitting the back of your throat more than a regular. Okay, whatever.
I can't.
I'll just keep continuing like you say yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you might be doing crescent lunge and you're raising your arms up on the inhale. And then on the exhale, you're extending your arms back behind you. So it helps to even out the inhales and exhales.
Keep talking. You're doing great.
Thank you. It's not like we don't have a camera.
Not sure.
Jesus.
Because it's not pulled up anymore.
Yeah,
so
well.
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
How does that
Somebody
feel?
saw my fucking wonderful yoga I was doing.
God, you're flexible.
I know. So good.
Hey.
Sam would be proud.
You do have to admit, though, that you do feel better stretching and foam rolling.
When I'm finished stretching, it feels better. But foam rolling, no. I want to rip my T-band out of my body and bash my head through drywall. I hate the foam roller. It hurts.
Well, yeah. But if you did it every day for a week, you would probably, it wouldn't hurt as much. Because there was a time when I foam rolled and I couldn't put my glute on it. Like I couldn't sit on the foam roll and move at all. I was like a cat in water. I was just frozen. And then now I can basically balance all of my weight on one glute and not even notice anything. So we are malleable. Our habits can change, just like our thoughts around judgment. Is there anything else that you would like to say about judgment that's inspiring other than giving them dollar signs?
If you're struggling with somebody passing judgment on you, just remember your own truth. Remember where you were in the moment that they were judging you for. Remember that their opinions, while they might be abundant, they don't matter. The only thing that matters is what you do with your life. Look at yourself in the mirror, and if there's no smoke in the mirror, you're seeing the real you.
There you go.
Perfect.
Remember who you are. Know your truth. Like Pat said, in that moment, you made that decision for a reason. And don't forget it. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget the people that matter most to you, because those who have the strongest opinion most likely are not that important in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't humble yourself for fucking anybody.
Well, I feel like this could spiral down into more vulgar things. So we're going to stop here. We hope that you guys got value. If you like what you guys heard today or the episodes prior, make sure to subscribe or follow us on Spotify, Apple, I also have the episodes on my website, which is livemebe.com, livmebe.com. We want to hear things that resonated with you, things that you want to hear our input on. We love hearing from you. That's probably my favorite thing is feedback. We will put the email in our show notes. And thank you so much for listening. We will see you again in 2 weeks on a Monday. You going to say anything?
Thank you. Good night.
Or like, yeah, thanks, bye.
I said that already.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. Then.
You said, yeah, thanks, good night.
Oh.
We release it in the morning.
Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you for listening and watching. Welcome to the visual that we now have. We are doing trial and error. So if you know visual better than we do, please let us know, because I don't know how to do any of this techie stuff. Techie and Yogi are you.
I know, isn't that funny?
Hunt and destroy are me.
Yeah. So if you see there's a area for improvement, we are always open to suggestions and any kind of help, because hey, you can't start as a professional.
Nope.
And we're starting.
Yep.
So we're already ahead of the game. So air 5. All right. Bye guys. Thanks for tuning in.